Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I have the news on in the background and it's showing all this like crazy flooding is happening and especially out in Hawaii. I mean, you don't often hear about storms out in Hawaii, but they had some and it was not good. So, keep some of those people in your thoughts, right? It's so nice to be able to come home to a safe, warm, dry home, right? And they just had this lady on over in Indiana. She lives in Indianapolis, and she was talking about, it was pouring down rain. She went to make a cup of coffee, turn around, look out the back window, and then there was the flash flood. It was like that fast, she said. And they showed there was like a whole road that got washed out there, which, in Indiana, you don't typically hear about a lot of flooding and stuff. So anyway, stay safe out there, right? Be grateful for what we do have. So
Yeah.
who's ready for a little reading? How about it? So I had some fun over the weekend. I went to a rock and roll concert and it was so fun. It was so fun. Nobody told me to sit down and stop dancing, or I was able to dance as much as I wanted to. In my area, it wasn't super crowded as some of the other seating areas, so I had a little extra room anyway. But and then there was some gal, she had on these cute little hot pants, and they were like black pleather. She happened to end up walking by me going up, to get to the restrooms or whatever. And I said, I was like, oh, those are cute. And then I saw her top and I was like, oh, there's a matching top. She's like, oh, thank you. Like you can tell, it's just fun when you see people get dressed up, enjoying the moment, right? You know what I mean? Enjoying themselves as we are supposed to on this planet, right? It's the take the good with the bad, right? Sometimes we forget about all the good stuff that can happen because because we know the bad's gonna happen. The bad's gonna happen. Like they say, if you don't think it can get worse, yes, it can. It literally can, right? But think about the good, think about how that might, naturally progress as well. Okay. So and excuse me, I have to turn the fan on here because I think my dog just tweeted. And I don't just want to be smelling my dog's toots that's hanging in the air. Yeah, I know. I love you, but it has limits. That's what a lot of people don't understand, like unconditional love and stuff. Yeah, that's knowing that your dog's gonna fart, right? But that doesn't mean you want to smell it. You know, like some people don't understand that there are boundaries involved, okay, with many things. So, and that doesn't mean you don't care about that person. That doesn't mean that you're against that person at all. It just means that your limits are different than their limits, right? Okay, then. Look at that, 4 of Wands, making the magic happen. Making the magic happen. Whoever manifested some good stuff for themselves, right? Knight of Wands. Also on today's Farmer's Almanac, the quote is, look for squalls, but don't make them. All right. So like don't upset the apple cart, don't don't fix what's not broke, right? Yeah. Queen of Swords, Libra, Gemini, Aquarius, getting to the points, right? What's that song? Was that Don Henley? To the heart of the matter. Okay. Because some people be talking, and they don't ever actually say anything, right? And sometimes it's like, okay, you want to say something, that's fine, but let's get to the point already. Or, you might have to ask somebody, okay, well, then what does that mean for this situation? Or what do you mean by that? They don't have an answer for you. It might be with that, not within your manifestation, right? So if they can't answer, if they don't have the secret password, you're not going to open up the door, no matter how good they look, right? How 9 to 1, no matter how good they look, no matter how smooth they talk, right? Well, I know so and so and so and so. Okay, great. I know people too. You know what I mean? Hello, hello. Yes, thank you in the chat. As a reminder, please be kind to others in the chat. Scorpio card. Okay. And follow the posted rules, okay? Or you may get removed by me or YouTube, but as long as you behave, within reasonable appropriateness, right? I enjoy seeing your chats and comments, okay? Because we're all coexisting on this planet, right? A lot of people want to exist in a vacuum. A lot of people want to exist in a silo. A lot of people want to exist in a bubble. Guess what? That is not the way the world works. You know, yeah, you can pay at the pump at the gas station, but what if you had cash on you and you had to go and talk to the attendant, right? You need to be able to learn how to interact with people. So that could be symbolic of this death card here, especially if it's somebody who, again, is more about the talk and less about the action, right? Where collective, and you can see like she's side eyeing here. She's like, yeah, right. Kind of like that gal I saw at the concert. I'm sure there were some dudes that were probably trying to chat her up, right? But then she probably had to say to herself, well, I can either stand here and try and chat, have this person chat me up, or I can get back to this concert and enjoy myself. Right. Because this is the problem. Some people they'll chat you up and they're doing it just to waste your time. They don't have any intentions behind it. Right. It's kind of like the online dating stuff. They'll be hitting you up with messages after messages after message. Sometimes they'll ask for your phone number, right? Are they ever going to actually want to meet in person? Have they ever suggested that? Or is it just talk? You know what I mean? So know when to cut the cord. And that's just the thing. When you cut that cord and this river is going to come through, it's like all of a sudden, all that healing, all that love, all that stuff's going to come through to you because Bozo's not over here blocking your view anymore. Right. And this could be a work situation as well. It doesn't have to be. This Knight of Wands is just somebody who is slick, period. Okay. This could even be somebody who's like some wants to be like some kind of manager or something, and they think they need to manage you, right? They think somehow they got the answers, for whatever reason. Mostly because they're arrogant, right? Mostly because they haven't had the ego death required at this time. But we all learn in our own ways. So, Knight of Cups. Okay, we're all on different timeline, right? So that's the thing too, collective is, because sometimes, these could be family members, this could be really close friends, this could be, people that you work with really closely, stuff like that. And it's like, well, just because they're in, proximity does not necessarily equate to intimacy, I guess is what I want to say. All right. Okay. I mean, I remember this was so many years ago. I was when I was in a band that we used to play in bars and taverns and all sorts of stuff like that. And this one guy that I happened to know from a different tavern that didn't normally have music, but he happened to come in the place that we were playing because they had music all the time. And I recognized him. So I said, hey, during set break or whatever. And he was there with one of his friends and so and he said, he said, I've worked with this guy for how many years? He said, and I don't even know how old he is. And I'm like, what? He's like, well, he won't tell me. I'm like, okay. Some people are just private like that. They don't want to disclose information. But, this guy, he was like, he didn't judge him for that. He respected him for that in a way, right? But at the same time, obviously that was a boundary that guy was making, that he said, I don't necessarily want to share that information with everybody. So again, proximity does not always mean intimacy. And then on top of it, what are they going to do with that information once they get it here? So Knight of Cups, is it actually going to be in a loving way? Right? Or are they using it so that they can go and talk to somebody else so they can try and get in on your manifestation? You know what I'm saying? Do you understand what I mean here with that? It's just like the school teacher says, keep your hands to yourself, mind your own business, keep your mind on your own paper. Those rules actually don't change in life. People think that they are supposed to change because they now have this authority, or they now are your boss at work, or they now are your father-in-law. So you got a fancy, no, no, it's not, it's not exactly how it works, is it? Right. And I'm not saying people can't have, valid points and all that kind of stuff. The point, though, being is that individuals trying to exercise control over others often results in failure. So don't be surprised if you get that pushback. Today, while I was driving, I happened to be listening to some religious radio, and the caller was calling in because they were trying to reach out to somebody. I think it was a family member, and they were, not getting answers back and things of that nature. And so they asked the caller, they said, okay, well, did this person ask to be no contact with you? And then it came out, well, yes, this person actually asked to say, they said, please don't contact me anymore. And they said, okay, well, this is that situation where you need to let go. Okay. Let go and let God. Right. Because obviously that person is working on something that doesn't involve you, me, or or the tree. Okay. They have to find that path on their own. And sometimes it's hard for us to accept that. And then, then there's the karmic people that keep trying to insert themselves and insert themselves. And, kind of what this guy was doing was he was being on the verge of being karmic, right? Even though he was just, trying to express concern and wanted this person to know that, hey, I'll always be there for you. But at the same time, he had clearly been communicated to say, look, your input is not needed at this time, and they didn't want it, period. So you know what I mean, collective, when people don't understand those boundaries, that is the risk that they run. All right, you risk turning people so far off that you will never get back. You will never get back. Okay. So like, don't make a hypocrite of yourself, right? And in what did they say? The road to hell is paved by good intentions. Oh yeah, I thought this was going to work out, but yeah, exactly. Because when there's only one person driving that vehicle and there's no navigator, well, if you're not listening to the navigator, are you driving on the right road? Who's the navigator in the situation? Hopefully this is making sense. All right, Justice card, Libra. Look at that. Ace of Swords on the bottom. The truth. The truth has come out. Yeah, Justice card. So, again, with this Queen of Swords, this is giving very independent energy. You know, not necessarily somebody who is closed off to love collective, but maybe has been closed off because being around the wrong person, right? Because of being around Mr. Slick, right? In this case, those are the roles, right? If this doesn't jive with you today, it's just not your message. Okay. All right. So again, this Queen of Swords realizing, like, yeah, I don't need so and so telling me what's up when I already know what's up. It's just one of those things, like, what do I need you for? And that's part of the justice here. Okay, that not only you see it and so you've claimed it, but that other people are recognizing it as well. So that purported respect, right, that somebody else commanded, right, that was maybe false. It's actually landing on the appropriate shoulders here of you, collective. Okay, where they're like, oh, I see, the collective is actually holding all the cards. We didn't realize that before. Oops. Oops. Yeah. Some people will say oops, some people will still be blind. And again, that's their prerogative. At a certain point, collective, you cannot, right? You cannot make somebody understand that does not want to understand. Okay. There was a guy I dated for a little while, and he had been through a divorce, so he was a very sensitive individual when it came to relationships, because he had a divorce at a pretty young age. But then he wanted to take that out on me, right? And oh, I'm just the representative of all women, and all women want to cheat, and it would be constant, just constant. It didn't matter. I mean, I could not even look sideways at somebody when we were out somewhere. It was like, oh, what are you trying to get with them? And I would get a constant stream of text messages while I was at work. While I was at work. I mean, I remember a day when we didn't have cell phones at work. So the fact that he thought he could bother me at work, after a while, you know what I told him? I said, you know what? You go on and think what you want. I don't care anymore. I don't have time to argue with you about it, because that's all it was. Yap, yap, yap. Yap, yap, yap. My ex-wife did this, blah, blah, blah. Dude needs therapy, obviously. Right? And taking it out on everybody else is not the way to win. Guess what? After me, he got with his dream girl. Guess where that relationship is at? It's in the fucking toilet. I wonder why. I wonder why. Oh, but they posted all the pictures, right? Posted all the pictures, all the happy little la 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 la's, right? Well, the truth is, collective, when one of them people in the relationship is driving on a different path, of driving on the path of, oh, I'm hurt and you're going to hurt me too. Oh, la, la, la. It's okay. Well, go ahead then. You're alone now. You got your wish. And it's funny because that's what they always just say to me. They're like, you want to be single. You want to be, you want to be, you want to be. It was always just like, it's like, have you ever even asked me a question and allowed me to speak? No, it's just, you do this, you do that, you do that, which none of which was actually true. This was all just stuff that he like made up in his mind because unfortunately he did not have a 9 to 5. He was self-employed, he had an income, but it was not 9 to 5. So he had plenty of time to sit around and stew and make up crap. Right? God knows what he told his relatives and buddies and everybody else. right? Oh, she's working that big corporate job now. You know how them people are. It's like, get newsflash. People that have to work in offices have to work with people of the opposite gender. Did you know? Did you know? Right? We're not in there having orgies all day. Crime and E. You know, some people just refuse to learn. They want to be stupid. That was just me knocking on the table. Or is it because I said the S word? But you know what I'm saying? It's like you can put all the evidence before them, right? You know, like this dude, it's like, would I really be bringing you lunch to your job? You know, well, he finally got like a regular job, you know, whatever. It's like, what you really think I'm gonna be bringing you food to your job and I'm out running around with so and so and so and so? Get real. Get real. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's a fantasy that they've built up in their mind, you know, and it's based on what? Based on what? You know, so that's you know, collective living the Vita Loca. You gotta, you know, you gotta shake your bonbon, right? As yeah, King of Swords. You gotta shake your bonbon as you see fit. I will say I was a little disappointed there weren't as many people up dancing, but I get it. We're getting up there in age, right? But some of these people ain't that old, but they want to act old. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, people on stage weren't acting old, man. They were running all over the place. I was pretty impressed, especially because of how hot and humid it was. My God. I mean, it was one of them days you stand outside and you just start dripping. You know what I mean? You just start dripping. I think that's when the dew point comes into play. Anyway, let's get a second pull of cards here. So you know, hate, rumors, gossip, all these things can really tear at somebody's insides. It can make them physically ill and also ill to the point of them talking about things on which they don't understand or comprehend. You know, I get it. Not everybody values education, but yes, I do have a master's degree, and yes, I did learn a few things. Yes, I did learn a few things. I wouldn't have gone through the program if I didn't think I was going to learn a few things. Okay. You know what I mean? It's all what you get out of it. It's all what you make of it, right? Some people be like, "Oh, I'm bored at school, blah blah." Okay. Well, maybe you need to start reading a book while the teacher's talking. You know what I mean? If you're so bored with what they're saying, you know, there's a lot of the you can't teach me nothing attitude around here in the world. Knight of Cups. All right. So, collective, I feel like you have some softer energy that's approaching you. Look at that. Lover's card. Yep. Yep. So, you know, don't confuse the softness for somebody that doesn't know what's going on. Do you understand what I mean by that? Chariot card here as well. Okay. Yeah. So, like I was talking about my concert buddy the other day earlier, right? Now I'm sure there were some dudes trying. I mean, she was a good looking gal and young and way younger than me too. 'Cause, I mean, I was looking at the outfit thinking back in the day, I could have probably pulled that off. You know, you're not gonna see me wear it now, but back in the day, all right. So maybe there was somebody to be like, you know what, hey, maybe after this, you and me need to chit chat. Maybe after this, you and me can, get together sometime. Maybe after this, you know what I mean? Versus like, oh, hey, you look good, blah, blah, blah. What you doing? Nah, nah, and dominating somebody's time when they already got somewhere to be, right? Okay, again, that's the Mr. Slick energy versus the, okay, you look good. Well, let's see how you look after this, right? Or how about tomorrow or next weekend? Critical thinking, right? Notice lately in the news, some of these news stories that they're running, it'll be something that happened like 5 years ago, and they'll act like it just happened, and it's like, what is going on? I guess that's a bonus for slow news days. I don't know. Seven of Pentacles here. So collective, yeah. So the less time you spent taking care of Mr. Slick, the more time, right? What did I say? That door just flows open. And then what happens? You're able to work on your business. You're able to grow your pentacles. You're able to work on your art projects, right? Because I was at a rock concert, and of course I saw that gal, and probably some people probably look at how she's dressed and probably think like, oh, like she's a groupie. Okay, whatever. I mean, hey man, some of them dudes want girlfriends. You know what I mean? So, love makes the world go around, right? But to the point of where it interrupts your own life and your own goals, right? For some people, that is their goal. I'm not saying that's the best goal to have, okay, but it is a goal. Some people have other goals, you know, the same as that person that got on stage and made it happen. Some folks out there, they underestimate the ability of people to have goals, to have ambition, all right, and it's like they don't understand the point of it for some reason. And these will be people that will be like actually teaching it to other people, right? And they'll teach little kids, you need to do your homework, you need to set goals for yourself. But it's like once adulthood comes through, it's like something happens in the brain. I don't know, for some of these folks. And it's like, well, the rest of us are still working on goals over here, you know. I don't know. Maybe that goal's maybe that gal's goal going to be to find a boyfriend that's not touring the world, right? Anyway, somebody who's going to be at home more often. 10 of Pentacles. So you got this Knight of Cups twice. All right. So again, taking in this softer energy, right, where it doesn't have to be so extreme. The movie Almost Famous, where Penny Lane is like, well, I happen to like dating rock stars because they just lead more interesting lives. Okay, she says that, but we see in the movie what kind of interesting life that is. It's very much the highs and lows, right? There's nothing steady about it. There's nothing stable about it. She has to go on her own journey to find that out. And the kid, right, Cameron Crowe's character, right, he has to learn where he fits in that. Because him and Penny Lane don't have the same goal. It's a matter of letting them run their own race, right? Like you said, what you could, yeah, look, Hierophant, teacher card, learning. That's the justice, learning. Learning that, sometimes the basics are just good enough, right? No, I don't need no fancy aioli on my sandwich today. You can put that on the side, but don't be smearing it all over that bread, because what if I don't like it? I'll try it. That don't mean I gotta have it. Okay, magician card here on the bottom. All right. So again, the truth is coming through collective in ways that are just undeniable. It's like stuff that, with the Hierophant card here, it's stuff that's like scientifically proved, right? Where people want to say, oh, well, this, oh, that, oh, that. Well, you can sit there and say that all day long, but where's the evidence? Where's the proof? Where's the articles? Where's the studies? Please, sir or ma'am, show me your experiment. Where's the link to your YouTube video explaining why you believe this to be so? And the evidence, right? And here's the thing, sometimes there ain't no evidence. It is just smoke and mirrors. I don't say this very often about the magician card, but sometimes you have to call a spade a spade. Yeah, and look what's on the bottom of it. Tower. Nine of swords. Yeah. Just like that reading I did the other day. Some people, before they do a reading, and I'm not saying it's wrong that these people are doing it. And I think some of it is really, it doesn't cause any harm. But, they got to ring the bells, and, like I got my incense, and they got his, sage, and they're, hooping and hollering on camera before they get into these readings. Oh, well, they did all this stuff, therefore they must know. Well, they might know. But as I said before in a reading, oh, only you can interpret this for you. I can't interpret it for you. Right? Because I don't care how psychic you are, how tapped in you are, you're never going to be able to control another person. So, sometimes it's believe what you need to believe. In the case of my ex, he needed to believe that I was like his ex-wife. He needed that to be true. Since it wasn't true, guess what? Go your own way, Fleetwood Mac. Loving you isn't the right thing to do. Go holler at somebody else. I am tired of it. I am tired of it. Criminy. Especially, what I mean, collective? It's like, it'd be one thing if it was actually true, but when it's not, man, does that just chap my hide. Right? And then they want to play nice afterwards, like, like nothing happened, and act all cool. It's like, oh, I see. It's like you get to sling your crap, right? But when it comes back, then the collective's the bad guy in the situation? I don't think so. So part of this reading, I think collective is also standing up for yourself and standing in that justice, in that truth, what you know to be true. Ace of Swords. Again, have you ever read that book On the Road? I couldn't even get through it because the characters annoyed the crap out of me because they were just using them women, especially the Mexican woman. Boy, did they piss me off. And the fact is, I know those are real people in that book. Those are real characters. Okay? But oh man, hey, they're so cool and counterculture and they don't want to be, 1950s husband, but they want a 1950s wife. And they'll drag her all around the country in a freaking car and say, "Woman, make me that," and "Woman, make my bed," and "Woman, rub my feet." Oh, but we didn't call it that. We're the counterculture. No, you're not. You're a fucking degenerate. You're a degenerate loser without a job, dragging a woman around, making her make something from nothing. And then we had a whole culture of people saying, "Oh, how great! How great! Oh, it's so great." Is it? I mean, these are the people that wanted you to come out and live on their commune and work for them while they tell you what to do. I guess they all forgot how to read and open up a cookbook so they know how to bake something themselves. Oh, well, I'm going to sit here and read my literature. Well, good for you. A lot of other people like to read literature too. Who was that one hoe? I can't remember her name. Anyway, it was somebody online. She tried to, I don't know, she made some dig at me like some people should have stayed at their corporate job instead of trying to be musicians, blah blah. And this bitch is a music teacher. I thought, wow, what a loser. What a loser. It's like she's willing to take money. She's willing to take my money for lessons just to go around, right? And say that I'm not who I say I am. You ever hear that? Jesus? You ever hear Jesus say them words, right? Am I not who you say I am? See, they didn't like him questioning them because it didn't fit their narrative. It didn't fit their narrative, did it? Now, I don't really like to call people losers and things like that, but here's the thing, collective. They want you to be a loser too. They want to pull you down to their level. You ever notice when you're not around so and so and so and so, like that you don't even need to like, people say like, "Oh, well, I do this because I have anxiety." Like say they drink alcohol because they have anxiety, right? Social anxiety. Well, maybe it's because of the people that you're around. Maybe it has nothing to do with you being social. Maybe it has nothing to do with you being anxiety, but being around them people. Yeah. Yeah, I might have to have a drink too to put up with that. Now, is that magic or is that science? 'Cause I'm just saying, it's fun to be part of the crowd, right? It can be fun. It can be entertaining. That doesn't mean your whole life has to revolve around it. Okay? Because this 10 of Pentacles can be yours. This 10 of Pentacles can be yours, right? By doing what? Honoring yourself, honoring the path that you're on. Is your 10 of Pentacles going to look the same as somebody else? No. I mean, Melania Trump lives in freaking what? Trump Tower and Mar-a-Lago. Does everyone want to do that in their life? No. Her 10 of Pentacles looks different than yours. That doesn't mean hers is wrong and yours is right and yours is wrong and hers is right. It doesn't mean any of that. right? So, the next time somebody thinks they know better because their head's up their rear end about it, right? You don't necessarily have to tell them to stick it where it don't shine because their head's already there. All you got to do is say, I'm keeping track of myself just fine, and I'm doing it without your input. Some people don't like that. They want to say, well, that's because I told them, and that's because I'm so and so, and that's because la la la. Just like that one ex of mine. Yeah, you can have that opinion. You can sit here and say that this happened and that happened. That don't make it true. That don't make it true. Just like I'm sitting here talking about that gal and she had her cute little outfit on. Talking about there's probably somebody thought she was some groupie or something. That don't make it true, right? But in our minds, we imagine like, well, she's attractive, she's young. Of course, that's somebody that a rock star would like. How do we know? How do we know that she likes rock stars? You know what I'm saying? Have you ever met some of them people? They can be real arrogant a-holes. Trust me, because I know ones that aren't even famous, and they are some of the most arrogant SOBs I have ever met in my life. In my life. All right. I think that's about all I have for you guys. Let's see. Maybe I will pull a few of the light worker deck here. Oh boy. Like, I don't know who this dude was, but all I kept hearing him do is complain behind me. Oh, that you can't see this. It's like, dude, you're the one that bought the tickets to the side of the stage. You can't have a full view on when you're to the side of the stage. And you know what? The ticket was very affordable as well. So it's like, you know, you can't have it both ways. Hey man, you want to be where you can feel the fucking sweat whipping off their motherfucking hands onto your face? Then put up the money, motherfucker. Don't be a cheap asshole and bitch about it the whole time. Like somebody owes you something. Nobody cares like that. Nobody cares. You just sound ungrateful. You just sound ungrateful. So tell you what, there was plenty of other people in that section enjoying themselves, having a grand old time. I didn't hear them utter one word about that. Not one. I mean, I look back at this guy a couple times, and you know what? He smiled a couple times when he was talking to somebody, but otherwise he just had one of them looks on his face, like he was just ready to be unpleasant. You know, you know what I mean? It's like, and again, it's like, okay, you can try and like I was trying to convince that one boyfriend of mine. I thought, oh, some people be like, oh man, you need to get rid of him. And I was like, oh no, I'll just try and prove my love. I'll try and help him with his insecurity. I'll try, and then after a while I was like, the hell with it. I'm done explaining it. Believe what you want. I mean, you ever notice that, collective, how people that go to work go to the grocery store and then go home, don't have a whole lot of problems except what bill to pay next. Okay, it's because they don't go out trying to make squalls. They can see them, but they don't go out there trying to make them. They're not in there at the grocery store in line crying to the cashier, "Oh, my girlfriend, she looked at somebody yesterday when we were out to dinner." Crying like a freaking woman. Akasha, your guidance is divinely guided. Yeah, this manifestation is yours. Don't let other people taint. Don't let other people taint your view. Council of Light Divine Orchestration helpers in the subtle realms. So collective, if you feel like you have some kind of guardian angel around you, especially when it comes to when you run into these smooth talkers and you start feeling like, I need to get out of here. I don't think this is for me. That is your spirit team telling you something. Okay? The Great Gathering. It's all coming together. Intuitive hits. Soul Tribe. Yeah. So, with the chariot, as above, so below, taking that intuition, taking those thoughts, taking those feelings, taking, those things that it's intangible and bringing it to the level where you're like, yep, I knew I was right about that. I can't believe I let somebody talk me out of that. And sometimes that happens, right? We take bad advice. And I get why we do, right? Because whatever else wasn't working. One of my social friends, at one point in time, they were like, "You're too picky, blah, blah." Okay. So I thought, well, I'll try and make it work with so and so. Well, guess what? It didn't work with so and so. It didn't work with anybody after him, neither. I don't think it was just me. I don't think it was just me. Right? Could there be some truth to those elements? Okay. But don't go against your instinct. Let me tell you, the relationship after him, person I went, oh man, I went against almost every instinct because I thought, no, I'm looking too much into this. Oh no, this couldn't possibly, no, no. Guess what? That was the karmic of all karmics that I ran into when they talk about the false flame, the false flame. That was nothing but a wannabe latchkey adult. Okay. That's what that was, a latchkey adult. All right. A latchkey adult with a didn't even hardly know how to go to work. Trust your path. If you knew you would be supported, what would you do? Okay. So instead of, running around cleaning up so and so's mess and, going with their harebrained schemes because they were a slick talker and you're thinking, well, surely they don't have ill will towards me. You want to make a bet? You want to make a bet? Trust your path. If you have any little inkling that's like, this may not be a good idea, it is your prerogative Okay. It is in your best interest. You don't have to buy today. Maybe you can wait until tomorrow. Right? I'm not saying put things off, but sometimes going back and just focusing on something else for a minute, and then you have to like tell yourself, it's like, oh, well, I guess I didn't, if you forget about it, it's like, do you really need it? All right. So when you get back to working on what is bringing you the growth, right? And then that is going to flow in. That's going to rebirth you here. That's where the river is flowing. All right. Kind of like, these floods. It's man versus nature, right? Oh yeah, we'll just build a bridge over there. Oh yeah, we'll just build a house on the side of this cliff. I'm sure it'll be fine. Well, I don't know about that. How much money you got saved up in case the cliff gives way? Oh, well, insurance will cover that. Do you know that for sure? Some people be like, "Oh, well, you're being too picky." A Queen of Swords reads the contract. You know, it's not an I guess so. It's not I think so. It's I know so because we went over it. So let there be no doubt. You're already doing it. Stop overthinking. Keep facing your true north. Okay. So again, when the slicks come by, right? When the slicks come by and they're like, "Hey, you're pretty good at that blah 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 blah." And you're like, "Yeah, thanks." You might be thinking like, what do they want? Exactly. Sometimes you have to ask yourself, what are they trying to achieve out of this situation? Do you actually need them for this situation? Or lo and behold, you already got the 10 of Pentacles and you don't need their input. Like I was saying earlier, me and Melania got different goals. You know, we don't even have a lot in common. She's married, I'm not. She's a mother, I'm not. I mean, I'm a dog mom. You know, you know, now, children are not in the cards for everybody, right? So, the way that you're going through life, right? You might be already doing the thing that you need to be doing. There's a lot of school teachers out there that don't have kids. Did you know that? Guess what? They're still qualified to teach children. That was always one that got me, because when you're seeing somebody that has kids and you don't have any kids, that will always get thrown in your face. Always. Make no mistake about it. It will get thrown in your face. And unfortunately, part of that reason is because some of those people, they are just childish individuals. Maybe that's why they've been blessed with children, so they can learn how to raise children that don't act childish. Pillar of light, your vibration is rising. You are the oracle. Again, the Hierophant teacher in the situation here. Okay. Again, nuns and priests do not have children, yet they are leaders. But yet, We vilify single people out in the real world. Why is that? Why is that? Do you understand the hypocrisy here? So collective again. This may be your justice coming forward, right? Oh, yeah, I've had all sorts of people say, oh, she doesn't want kids or she doesn't want pets or blah, blah. It's like, well, what were they doing to help accomplish that goal? Huh? When did Skippy Joe decide to get his frickin' act together? Right? Okay? Some people don't be having kids because the partner they're with is not seaworthy for that enterprise. To me, that's called being smart by not bringing children into that scenario. Whereas other people, they don't care. Not only are they going to drag their kids along with them, they're going to drag their entire family, their ex-wives, right? Some of these ex-wives, man, do I feel sorry for them. So, when you are being called, just understand that your path does not look like everybody else's, okay? And some people might think you are not qualified to answer this call. That is their problem to deal with. That is their karma to deal with. But because God has called you and you're answering, right? That's between you and God. Let no man put asunder. Oh, I know. Isn't it fun to quote the Bible when it's convenient? Right? I know I had to pick on the Protestants the other day because they think they invented religion. I know. I know. It must be rough. It must be rough out there for the Protestants. Anyway. Well, nobody prays harder than us. Is that a fact? Is that a fact? Well, you better pray for some sense. How about that? How about that? Because guess what? Not everybody wants to show up to church looking like your grandmother. How about that? How about that? Right? And these same dudes will be out there on Instagram and have all their little favorites and other things. Okay? Okay? The veil has been lifted, hasn't it? Anyway, yeah. You guys, sometimes I have like a little too much fun doing this. It's almost not fair. But, at the same time, yeah, I know some of these messages can come off harsh, but I need you to understand that I know you guys have been spoken to in this manner, and I know you've been spoken to in a with this tone, but in a negative way. Whereas I'm trying to give you the positive side of it, right? So that you can stand in your fierceness, that you can stand in your potential, right? Some people don't even get to the level of approaching their potential because somebody else was just sitting there talking. Talk yakety yakety yak. Yakety yakety yak. Right? Oh, I don't want to settle down. I just want to travel around and, you know, I'm not with society. Okay. Okay. Well, who are you trying to make your bed? Who are you having to make your bed? Who are you having to get your food for you and your money and all the other things that are needed in society? Are you out there growing it yourself? Oh, you're not? Oh, I see. Do you understand what I'm saying, collective? When Adam and Eve were in the Garden of Eden, right? They were blessed with that abundance. They were a team. Okay. So this council of light, this helpers in the subtle realms. Because sometimes that other person, we haven't found that person yet that's going to help us. That doesn't mean you're without guidance. See, people that don't want you to believe in religion or, a higher power, or they only want you to believe in the power of man, right? They don't want you seeing this. They want you blind to that. They only want you seeing what they see, right? You're more than that. There's potential in you that you haven't even seen yet that God is going to deliver to you. All you got to do is ask for it and be open to receive it. It's all you have to do. Is it really that simple? Yes, it is. It actually is. It is actually that simple. But guess what? Everybody else out there, right? They want you to think, oh, no, you got to do this and you got to do that. And but you're like, but I'm already doing this. Shouldn't that be enough? Right? Again, what are your goals? What are your goals, collective? For some of you, your goal is to be aligned with God and the path that God wants you on. There are medical professionals out there today that do not believe in God. They think that if somebody says God is talking to them, that they are crazy. God can talk to us in all sorts of ways through interactions with other people, good and bad, through dreams, through prayer, through meditation, through our acts of work and service and dedication. God talks to us. See how he's working, 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 and then it's like, look, it's done. Boom. Working, 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 working. Look, it's done. Boom. Do you think God would allow you that sense of pride and accomplishment? Exactly. If you did it the old fashioned way, there's always somebody that's going to say, oh no, there's a new way to do it. Okay. Maybe there is. That doesn't mean it has to be for you. Speaking of that, I saw an Amish man today. Talk about people that are sticking to some basics. He was a very thin Amish dude, though, I have to say. I thought them people ate better than that, but what do I know? Anyway, this is what I have for you guys today. Kind of all over the place with the message, but if it resonates with you, you'll get it, right? If it's not resonating with you, it's just not your message today. Don't sweat it. Okay. So, but stand firm, stand strong. You have a lot going for you, collective, and it's a lot more than anybody ever imagined for you because they are not God. All right. So let the spirit of life, the joy of, God work through you. All right. And what you need to be doing here on this planet. Okay. If you want to be of service to others, service to yourself and others, however you want to see fit. Okay. So again, all you got to do is ask, keep the line of communication open. And I am here to tell you that it's going to come to you. All right. When you wake up in the middle of the night with some thought, blah, blah, write it down. Then look at it the next day in the morning and be like, maybe God was trying to tell me something. I think you're getting the idea. All right. Thank you everyone who joined the chat today. Looks a little quiet today. I guess it is a Monday. Hopefully it's not a manic Monday for everybody. So I hope this message finds you well. Anyway, until next time, please do manifest wisely. Bye bye.